We are going to be looking at a phenomenon that is becoming very rampant across our nation, across our continent, where married men are increasingly getting secret wives for themselves, housing them, and hiding it from their legally married wives. We are going to be looking at it, asking whether is this the new form of polygamy that is taking root in our country. We also are going to be looking at the issue of bushfallers. This is their season. We're asking the question as to why they prefer getting married to girls back home and taking them over. Also looking at the possibility for these marriages to last. We're discussing these two topics with our panelists. Two of them are already in the studio. Rev Tatoh Kenneth is there in the house. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you. Good evening to our viewers. And it is another wonderful privilege for us to be on board this evening to discuss these pertinent relationship issues that are plaguing our society. And we believe we are going to have a swell time, and we're going to have great moments to really share on these things. I want to greet a fellow panelist, Apostle Esinge,
okay,
and our technical team.
Okay, Apostle, we also are glad to have you with us this evening. Welcome.
We know the demands of family also. I was rushing to pick my wife from work, so
okay.
The embouteillage was so serious. But I said, however the case, I must skip this appointment to be here today, and I know it's going to be very strong today. I want to greet my fellow panelist, Rev Tatoh. I want to say that it's a wonderful day today.
Okay, I'll start with you. Have you had instances where women are complaining to you, discovering that their husbands are housing other ladies and actually living with them as their wives?
Actually, this, as you say, Mr. Leo, this is actually is a recurrent phenomenon which is on the rise in the society today, where somebody is legally married with his wife, and sometimes they tell lies that they have work pressure, they have gone on mission, yet they're in the second office. They call it in French the deuxième bureau. So it is becoming so rampant in society today for reasons that one can really scarcely tell. You see, a man will marry a woman, sign monogamy with her, and it's like kind of more committed to another woman outside than the wife he legally got married to. Our topic, it sounds like people, they marry secretly, but I want to say most of these things have to do with cohabiting outside. They have a woman, they have a secret transaction with, but they're not really married to them, because most of these men who do these things have signed monogamy with their wives. It's not polygamy. They have signed monogamy with their wives. They are living with the woman in the house. They have had children with the woman, but they have a woman elsewhere. They have rented an apartment for the lady. In fact, at times they don't come for break in their house. They go for break in this woman's house.
Yeah, but what you're saying is having deuxième bureau out there. But Apostle Alfred Esinge, I've seen 3 cases where they actually live with these women as if they were married to them.
Yes, it's a normal thing now. We don't want to accept that.
You are married to a woman here at Bonasama. You've signed, and then you go to Ngaunduri and sign
another one.
Yes, and the woman is living somewhere else.
That's true. It's true. It's a common thing now in the society, because since women don't want to accept polygamy officially, the men, yes, the men are looking for ways to do this, because no matter what you think about it, an African man is an African man. We're looking at it from the eyes of an African. An African understands that than for me to become a gay, or than for me to become a homosexual, I prefer to settle for 2 wives or 3 wives or 4 wives or 5 wives. Now, some of them actually live on salary. They put some of these ladies on salary and just have a house, rent a house, sometimes build a house. I've seen this is very common today. You know, there are some cases I encountered in different places, like in Tiko, where a man will have about 5 different children outside with another wife, and then about 4 in the house. You know, and then when they came to know themselves, they argued for some time, and after that they had to stop, because they know that there's no way you continue arguing. But I want to make the women to know that there is a probability that your husband may want to marry the second woman, but he does not know how to put it, and for certain reasons. One woman boldly told me, said, I prefer my husband to take another wife. I prefer it because the stress is too much for me. I prefer another wife comes in so that he can also divide that stress that is put upon me as a wife. That's what one...
Yeah, but is this a new form of polygamy where husbands no longer bring the second, third, fourth wives in the house?
Yes.
Decide. There are many of them in Douala. You see, the man is living in Ponaberi.
Yes.
He has another woman living in a house in Dogbong, another one living in a house constructed by the man, maybe in Lokpum.
There's one actor that I encountered, a director, film director. He has one in Nigeria, one in Ghana. He also has in Cameroon. So when he's directing a film in Cameroon, he comes to that wife. When he's directing in Ghana, he goes there. When he's in Douala, when he's in Nigeria, he goes there. It's a common thing. You know, men have this tendency. We are trying to kill it. But those are things that exist in men, that even the church today cannot handle that particular phenomenon, because even the elders and the pastors are going in for it. Because sometimes the burden of one woman or one man is very difficult. So they decide to share this burden and it becomes a problem. But however, we know that, as Christians, we want to call it a sin, or it's against the law of the Bible. But the truth is, men are built that way.
The practice is gaining ground, sir.
Yes, it's gaining grounds. It's a serious ground.
But what would be pushing many persons to wanting to live like that now?
Now, before I respond to that, Mr. Lua, I want us to really make it clear. If let's say, as you rightly put it, I live in Bonaberi, and I cross over to, call it Bedi, and I pick some other woman there. Now, if I signed monogamy with the woman in Bonaberi, signing another one is already criminal. It is not, in fact, the new marriage I'm signing with somebody else, will be out of town in Betwa or somewhere, is already null and void, because I have a marriage that is monogamous and that is already existing. It's not yet broken. So this other marriage that I'm entering into is already a marriage that is null and void. But if it was polygamy, that's another thing. So as you say, often you see, most of these things have some provoking factors. For instance, it can be that your wife, the woman you got married to, maybe you had a different impression before you took this woman as wife, and she becomes maybe, underperformance. She is not up to speed, up to standard, the way you saw her maybe when she was still a single, and you thought this is a woman I'm going to make my life with. And then you take her in the house, you see character is not there, she stands up to the man. The man begins to feel that this woman is being a fellow man to him. He decides that, in fact, than for me to be, I better look for somebody else, that when I come back and I'm feeling so stressed up, I better go and seek refuge or seek comfort elsewhere. So at times, women can be a contributor in terms of one character, in terms of performance. Imagine that you have a wife that when you come back home, she is there doing her nails, or she's there on WhatsApp and asks you to go and serve yourself, go and pick food from the pot yourself and eat.
I'm not a housemate.
Yeah. The man will start feeling frustrated, because these are factors that a man will not really want to accommodate. A woman who will, will not keep her home well, the woman who will not maybe keep herself well, her performance as a wife is dwindling or is not even there at all. This kind of thing, a man is going to feel frustrated and will want to go and look for a woman who is going to treat him better. Imagine that the man has, maybe for one reason or the other, for the very first time he has gotten into contact with this other lady. The lady cuddles him, feeds him, calls him sweet names, and he feels, in fact, so relaxed in the arms of this other lady, of which back in his own home they call him by name George. George, carry a food for chop for pot chop. In fact, George, do this, George, do this, George. That pan, and nobody what happened. You see, but he is with another woman that gives him all the comfort, gives him all the romance he needs, gives him all the attention. He will now begin to turn his eyes and look and be feeling, you hear most of these men will say, in fact, this was not my wife, this was an error, I committed an error. So one of it will be that most women are not performing, they are not living, they are not playing their role as a wife is supposed to play within the context of a marital relationship. That is one very serious reason that makes men to leave and go out to begin to, do. In fact, at times they are nagging. They just begin to nag. Yes. Before you come back home, she complains. You go up, you do. In fact, some men do the best they can do. They try to gather themselves, you know, live up to the financial responsibilities in the home, but everything he does not earn any appreciation. It's only criticism.
Okay.
So the man begins to feel frustrated when he faces such a situation.
Yes, let's move over to the men that you get the first reaction from Mrs. Asanji, Yvette.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Greetings to the panelists and to our televiewers. The aspect of housing other women or housing other wives away from home or keeping other women as co-wives, this is something that has become so common in our society today. Men keep their girlfriends, their side chicks, as co-wives because they actually do rent an apartment for them. They pay bills, they give food money, they do everything in that home. I mean everything. Some of these men, they have these women that they are housing within the same town. You can be surprised, sometimes it's not even far from the man's own house. You know, sometimes I begin to wonder if these men even have conscience at all. It could be within the same town. It could be even in other towns. You see, they travel for no reason, go and spend weekend, go and spend days, and then before they're coming back. All of this, Mr. Leo, I will tell you that this is what has made a lot of men not to concentrate on their marriage. Now, what happens most often is that these men, they will even get up in the morning, they keep 2,000 francs on the bedside cupboard for the wife to cook food for the whole family. I mean a family of, maybe, let's say 4 children. 4 children, the wife and himself. And then they go to the side chick or the other co-wife. They give her 10,000 francs. And at the end of the day, they get to compare what this other woman is cooking as delicious, that this other woman knows how to cook better than the wife at home. But how can a woman manage 2,000 francs to cook to cook food that will serve the whole family, while another person is cooking food for 10,000 francs that will serve just 2 people? That's why she can cook the food with all kinds of obstacles inside. You have the fish, the fresh fish, the dry fish, the crayfish, meat, nkanda, you can name it. After all, she's cooking just for the 2 of you. And this is what makes some of the men prefer to go and hang out or stay more with the other co-wife than only come home in the early hours of the morning. All of these efforts put together, if they were investing these efforts in their own home, most marriages will be better. But most men don't see it that way. They think they are having fun, they are having peace of mind.
Okay, she's raising an issue. Good evening to you, Robert and G, and Isabella Tenwe, all watching on social media, Facebook. Now, what would account for the fact that the man would prefer to give more to the other lady who may not necessarily be living with him?
You know,
and gives very less at home.
Yes, sometimes familiarity breeds contempt.
Okay.
You know, when you have been with somebody for too long, there's a tendency that you begin to lose respect, you begin to lose a lot of things. But when some other person is coming new, they have their approach. They want to be lovely, and especially the ones that truly know that you're married. So they are there knowing that they are like a life jacket, and you know, anytime you can discard of them for whatever. So they do everything, and they put all the wonderful behaviors to keep that particular relationship going. So the man also feels good. And like we said the other time, there is a kind of maybe love making you will make with your wife that when you go to another woman out there, you know, it's not going to be the same, because the woman out there can do everything to impress you. But the woman, your wife, does not do things to impress you. Say, what is the problem? Get him when you want to get and come on for them and sleep. And those kind of things. And you know, a lot of women are doing that today, and they are pushing these men to go out there. And the person who gives you a good emotional satisfaction, there's a tendency that you will always provide for that person more than the one that is at home. I must say that the women have abused love. They've abused the word love. When you love them, you show them concern, you show them everything. What they give back to you is to tell you that you were a fool to show them love. Because I want to say that when a woman stays in marriage, like I said, that in the first 2 years, the man listens to you. In the second 2 years, you listen to the man. And in the next years that are to come, both of you talk and the neighbors listen to you people. Because at that time, disagreements have come. Children have come in. A lot of demands, responsibility have come in. But now, this man does not have any, he has a lady who does not have other responsibilities. She just takes care of herself, bathe herself, buy soap, oil, and everything is taking care of herself alone. What happens? You are bound to always provide for that particular woman because she looks fresh, she looks good, she looks nice, she keeps herself clean, she washes her bed sheets. You know, her room does not have, she doesn't have children that are coming to litter the room and do some kind of things, you know. So because of that, everywhere is clean and, you know, smelling good and everything. Anything that woman suggests at that moment, the husband, the guy will take it. Because at home, see, Mr. Lord, the truth about it is that we see hell at home. It's not a joke.
Yeah, who sees hell?
We, the men.
Yeah, but some men not also abusing the commitment and tenderness shown to them by their wives. There are men who do abuse.
Yes, the men, there are some men who are really, really out of mind. I'll call it out of mind because they don't know how to appreciate good gifts for them. Because some men have very wonderful wives. But they don't see it as wives. They don't see it as important. These wives do everything to please them. But instead, they don't like that kind of woman. They instead prefer the one that does not do anything for them. And that is how it is. That's how this thing is. Sometimes it is the men. Sometimes it is the women. The women show so much love. You know, a woman knows how to give you love. But all of a sudden, the man thinks that, no, she's too cheap. Or she's not the strong woman. I like a woman who can also argue with me and we query and all those kind of things. But a true African man doesn't like a woman who quarrels.
Okay.
With him.
Bonnie for Shu, we are glad to know that you are watching on Facebook, on our Facebook page. Now, is this also not common with these guys who suddenly become rich? Because to have the tendency of keeping 2, 3 women in the same town and actually living and making babies with them will require so much money, which means that many of us men who are pretending to be one woman in the house, maybe it's because we have not had that type of money that most of our friends have.
Exactly.
We are pretending.
Yeah.
To be humble.
You see, our first intervention gives the impression that the burden of this thing lies in women's bed. You have some men whose problem, first of all, is spiritual and moral bankruptcy. Okay. They don't know how to keep themselves and, you know, be disciplined and keep themselves just for the woman they got married to. In fact, there's some women who don't, some men who don't know how to zip up their trouser. Their trouser is always unzipped, which is a kind of lifestyle. In fact, you see, great men have been brought down by this kind of over-womanizing. When you are a womanizer, your lifespan is not going to be long when you womanize, because when a woman, in fact, you've shown a woman comfort, you've shown her love, and she wants to respond to it. You want to start telling her that you have your wife at home that you want to turn back. There are some women that can lynch you. So what Mr. Leo is saying is very, very pertinent. In addition to this spiritual and moral bankruptcy that makes some people to go into all of this, when some people become economically empowered, it drives them mad. The real character that you can see in a man is defined by the person's, you know, when the person is actually up there in terms financially. When you give somebody a name, give somebody money, give somebody a position, give somebody fame, and you can now get a true definition of the person's identity and character. When you see people, when some people are seemingly humble today because poverty has humbled them. They are seemingly husband to one wife today because poverty is making them to be a monogamy. There are many people who are monogamous because of poverty. But the moment they become economically empowered, they want to keep one in Mabanda, keep the other one in Logbaba, keep the other one in Dokpasi, and keep another one in Bonanjo, keep another one in Bonaprizo. And they begin to feel good. In fact, they like, I don't like, because some people say Marriage is the propensity to pay bills. That's how some people look at marriage. That it's a propensity to pay. As long as you have the ability to pay bills, you have the ability to pay, the ability to spend. In fact, yeah, you are ripe for marriage, which is not necessarily the case. That is not the case. Many people have gotten economically empowered, and it has made them to do what they wouldn't have done. I have lived a case like that here in Douala. A man was doing very well in business. He started up the business with the wife he got married to, and they were struggling. They struggled together, and God began to bless them. God began to open them doors. They entered into importation. They began to do other businesses, and it was blossoming. So when this man became stable, was becoming economically stable, he began to look outside. And this is what happened. When the man began to look outside, the woman now decided that she was going to get a charm to conserve her man. So he saw that thing in the house and then said she has taken a charm to kill him, that he would divorce. So at that time, he had already started keeping women here and there. And now this woman was helpless. Everything she wanted to explain, that I brought this thing so that I can keep you for myself, I can conserve you for myself, as it was the case when we were chaving. Her explanation did not go anywhere. Her explanation was that she wanted to conserve his man, but the man's own understanding of the situation was that he has taken medicine to kill him so that she would sit on the property. So he sent her packing and then got married to some other person, and that was a doorway to downfall. So many people, when they become rich, riches are an elastic thing. The men who are listening to us can bear witness that. There is no amount of riches that you amass for yourself and you think you are so stable that you have reached that level of stability where you cannot dwindle. There's none. So when you become rich and you think you keep women here and there, you are just joking with you are joking on a thread. At any time that thread can rupture and you collapse. And now imagine that you have gone now, you've delivered 3 children with one this way, you've delivered 2 with the other one, you delivered 1 with the other way, and the money now begins to shrink. You no longer have money the way you had. Yeah, how do you go about it?
Yeah, but Apostle Alfred is singing. What is really intriguing in this is the fact that many more women are becoming the more comfortable. All they need is your attention, and then if they can get you, they care very little about your wife or any other existing women. All they need from you is get a house, and they are ready to make babies and actually do everything to keep you for themselves. In passing, I will send these special greetings to you, Prince Nzemebu, who should be watching us from Yaoundé, the nation's capital.
Yes, Mr. Leo, what you should come to understand that this thing has a biblical background.
Okay.
Yes, I said that there was a time I said that there's going to be a time where 7 women will hold 1 man.
Okay.
And they said they want
fulfillment
to fulfillment of prophecy. Yes, 7 women will hold 1 man, and they will say, we don't want a name we don't want food from you, we don't want clothing from you. All we want is a name, to show that we also have somebody in our lives, because that is what gives a woman prestige. And you should also know that married men do care more than single men. That's what you should know. Married men care a lot for women outside. Now let's look at it biblically speaking. There's a word in the Bible called concubine. We call it concubine. What's the origin of concubine? A lot of people in the early days had concubines. This other guy had 700 wives and 300 concubines, Solomon. Now, what were those concubines? What were their roles? What were they supposed to do in the life of that man? After having 700 wives, you're not satisfied. David had about 40 wives and then had concubines also. That is to tell you that this is something that it has come from a very long way. People feel better. Do you know that even the Queen of Sheba came in? She's a rich woman. She has all what she has. She came and saw Solomon with all those wives and all those concubines. The Queen of Sheba still had a child with Solomon before going back to Sheba.
That is a question.
Yes,
many more women today are making themselves very available.
I just want to have a child with you. They are saying that. I've heard people saying that to me too. I just want to have a child with you. When I just want somebody that I can call my son's child or my son's father. You know, women are increasingly desiring that kind of a thing. It's a prophecy. It's a prophecy that is fulfilling. You know, people are wanting to get it. They may not want to get the name that they are polygamous, because the name polygamy is like a taboo in the society. So people decide to take other guises in order to keep other women, so that it will not be pronounced by that. But the truth about it is that there is something in men that will always attract women, and women will want to come. They will know quite all right that you're married.
The communities actually know.
Yes.
And the women are comfortable with it.
Good.
And their families.
Neighbors know.
But the families, the families are aware.
Yes.
That is the family of the wife is aware that this man is married somewhere,
yes,
yet keeping our daughter, and they even call him Boo.
Good.
Yes, our in-law. And you come, they receive you.
They receive you, and they even have relationship. When they have a problem, they can ask you for help. They know that you are not legally married to their daughter. You have another wife. So then they keep you. So provided the daughter is okay with it. But that is exactly what is happening today. Women are increasingly accepting that they should be the second wives. Not only second, third, fourth, fifth. You know, because you live here and drop in the next lady there, you live the other. I know say get them, but provided the girl they don't cross my territory, and it give my own small way, it give me problem all day. That is what is happening today, and we should also see that. And look, in sociology, we try to analyze the society and see what is socially accepted, and you know, it is gradually becoming almost legal to have concubines.
Yes, let's take a second reaction from Ms. Asanji Yvette from Bamenda, Northwest Capital.
No matter how long you house someone, even if it's in another town, I've had counseling many. Sometimes the man is even housing or even staying with the woman in another town, while the wife is working in another town with the children. Maybe he was working he was staying with the wife in one home, then he was transferred. He goes and is renting. He is staying with the other woman. I mean, let's say somebody working in Douala, having a woman there, staying with that woman there, whereas he has a wife here in Bamenda. And you will hear things like, you don't have to visit me without prior notification. All of these things are things that are happening. What is the essence of all of this? Why should a man, or why should somebody get married if you are not ready to commit to that marriage? Why should you get married? And then most of these men, they sign the monogamy on the paper, yet they live a polygamous life. Why should you even go signing the marriage in the first place if you know that you cannot stay glued to one woman? Worst of all, why should you sign monogamy when you can't, concentrate on one woman? All of these, men don't understand that all of this put together, it exhausts them. Energy-wise, health-wise, financially wise, everything about such relationships only drain them. And when it drains them, they at the end of the day, they even blame the woman at home for nagging, for contributing to their health, for doing this and for doing that. But if they were to take such energy, such finances to put in their home, I'm telling you the truth, Mr. Leo, most marriages will be far off better. But no matter how long they hide, nothing goes around that doesn't come around. Nothing is hidden under the sun. When you hear of karma will hit them one day. The truth will eventually come out. And when the truth comes out, obviously, most often they are like, it's the devil's handwork. Many people accuse the devil when the devil does nothing even. We empower the devil too much. You were doing this thing, you were aware of what you were doing. So what I want to say is that no matter how much you hide it, no matter how long you hide it, it is going to come out. The truth will come out, and when it comes out, it will break you and break your home.
She's talking about karma. Yes, we have to pray that it does not happen to us. But when we find women who are increasingly accepting to live with a man whom they know is legally married and has maybe 2, 3, is this a pointer to the fact that women are increasingly open to this notion of polygamy?
I don't think we can really attribute it per se to women being, you know, having an affiliation or having an affinity towards polygamy.
Okay, they just need a man.
They just need a man.
Okay.
The reason being that the ratio of men to women is very low. Or put it the other way around, the ratio of women to men is very high. So I've seen, I don't know whether that, I saw something on, was it on Facebook or WhatsApp? They say, which country is that the women, they came out to
went on strike.
They went on strike to demonstrate that, in fact, men should not marry only one woman any longer.
They should make it a law.
They should make it a law. Something like that. Was one of these West African countries, that they should make it a law for men to marry more than one wife. So when you see, so it's just because the ratio of men to women is low. Men, and then many women now also want a, you know, a husband. They want somebody to, you know, to just be called by his name. And this person, since many of them are getting married, many are being killed at the war fronts, and all of these things put together, you know, people are now accommodating in fact, the devil's option, because accommodating polygamy for many people is the devil's option. To say you will freely want to share your man with another person is not very, in fact, it is not normal. It's not a normal scenario to say as a woman, she will want to have a mbanya, she want to have a mate. Yeah, that jealousy will always be there. The Bible tells of Sarah and Hagar. When Hagar had delivered a child for Abraham, she decided to become rebellious. She didn't have regard again for the woman. That is the case. You have many people, like there is a case, there's a man who wanted to get married to a second wife and got married to his secretary. He has a business of his own, and he wanted to get married and married his secretary. And the wife said, no, better if you must marry somebody else, not this girl. Why? Yesterday it was mommy. Today they are at the same level. Because secretary, you know, we will like, yes, she has graduated from just a secretary now to a co-wife. You see, she will have that tendency of looking down on her. All of those things are the vices that animate relationships that are polygamous. But now, many women will say, okay, then for me to stay single, I better enter as second, third, fourth wife. Not because they really want it, but because that's the devil's option.
Ok, Fallon from Ewane ici. Bonsoir à vous. Sur le plateau, je ne suis pas d'accord avec ce que le monsieur en blanc a dit au début de l'émission. J'en ai vu des hommes qui avaient des femmes très soumises et respectueuses, mais ça n'empêchait pas ces hommes d'avoir des maîtresses. Fallon depuis Yaoundé, according to Fallon, it's not necessarily the fact that the woman is nagging bad. She has seen very beautiful, submissive women, but that does not actually stop men from going out.
Yeah, I think we balanced it when we began by laying the burden on the women, and then we said men too, and that's what we are still discussing on. As we're talking about riches when they come, we talk about spiritual bankruptcy. Some people are moral bankruptcy, and people who have just decided to be spiritual dwarfs, moral dwarfs, in order to just accommodate everything in their lives. Yeah.
Okay, special greetings to all of you watching us from Nyasoso, especially the fan club led by Mbachu NS. I know you guys are watching as usual. I extend my greetings to you all watching from Nyasoso. I hope that by the 18th of this month, you guys are inviting me to Nyasoso. I hope to create time to be with you people. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I think the reason why men cheat is because of the bad culture that the Europeans brought to us. African men were born polygamous, and the white brought the Bible telling us about one man, one wife. If we take one man, one woman, then most women, okay, you mean most women will remain single the rest of their lives. The Bible says in the last days, 7 women will stick to one man just to get the name as married women. Apostle Alfred said that already. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The truth is both men and women have their own ways of cheating in marriage. It's a 50-50 issue. The men keep different women outside as wives. Yeah. but the women too also present children gotten with another man as the husband's children. Most women, Mr. Liu, don't concentrate on their husbands. It's just that women speak loud and the man is seen as worst. My advice is this: women, once your man starts behaving funny, step up your commitments in all ramifications, because it's a sign you just lost one aspect he saw in you before marrying you. The day you catch your man and challenge him, then you just gave him a clean visa to legally flow in the act. Tiku Felix is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Felix. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It is regrettable that such an absurd trend is gaining ground. The truth is that we end up frustrating our wives and families and creating generalized unhappiness in the society. The theory that men do this because there are more women than men does not hold water. If that were the case, why are some men killing themselves because they have been disappointed? Why are some men sleeping with other men instead of women that are supposedly greater in number? If men are very concerned about every woman having a husband, then we should stop sending some men to be priests. A flirt is a flirt master. Fru Clovis is writing from Los Angeles. Okay. Good evening to you, Fru. This one says, sir, I would like to take part in any of your programs. Okay. I will get to me after the program so that we discuss and I look at when it's possible for you to join us on this platform. Good evening to all. Nice program, only a genuine. Okay. Good evening and all the panelists. I think one of the reasons for this is that God has created more women than men. B. Samuel, writing from Boya. Now, Apostle Alfred is singing. Well, is this a way also for some men to try to reduce tension in their homes? Men who are naturally polygamous, because in the past, a parent will bring 4 women into one house. This time around, men are getting wiser and think that not to create constant tensions, let me dispatch the wives, each one, this one may be living in Yaoundé, the other one is in Douala, the other, and then he lives peacefully, he spends time this way, and then next he goes over.
Just like technology is improving, and a lot of things, yes, just like technology is increasing, and a lot of things are proving, so people are also handling technologically emotional situations. You know, they're trying to balance this issue so that tomorrow it doesn't become a problem. You know, my wife just sent me a message and was asking me that, why am I talking and also adding myself into it? I say, yes, I'm a man. Yes, I say I'm a man because she's one of the people that follow us. Yes, I say I'm a man. Anything can happen tomorrow. If you push me to the wall and you put tension on me, there's kind of pressure that you begin to do something you did not want to do. That's the truth. You do some things you don't want to do because a woman decides to say what? She decides to treat you funny. You know, you know, that love that was there, that humility, that submission and everything. When it's not there, it happens. I'm a man. It can happen to anybody. It can happen. Mr. Leonard, true now. Yeah, those are the kind of things. Is it?
Yeah, we are all flesh.
Yes, it can happen to anybody. This thing is not a joke. We're in a society which is polluted now. Before you realize it now, churches will be joining polygamous marriages.
We have renowned men of God who are divorced now.
They know, because if they had the choice, they would have taken the second wife. But they know that if they take the second wife, that it will be a problem. They not divorce the other one. So what's the difference?
You marry and remarry.
No, you don't marry and remarry.
No,
in the realm of the spirit,
they have divorced and they have taken another wife.
In the realm of the spirit, you have not divorced. You are still connected because it is a vow that you took on the altar.
Until the other dies.
Until the other dies. And they say, if for any reason you don't want to live with this person, give him a letter of divorce, let the person go away, but you will stay like that forever. You know, then the disciples say, so this one is too difficult. Yes, this one is too difficult. It's better that one does not marry at all. That's what they said. They say it's better that one does not marry at all because the condition for separation is too hard and too high. And that is the truth. That's the truth. And women must also understand this. They think that any little misunderstanding, they want to go away, they want to do divorce, they want to do divorce. I've seen it, especially many of these women living abroad. That is the new trend today. The new trend. They feel that for any reason they can just discard this boy and pick another one, and then life continues. Spiritually, they are blocked. They are hooked. Because these things, like I said, when you are going to get married, you have this thing. You have the altar of the village. Is accepting you people. The altar of the state is accepting you people. Then the altar of God is accepting. These three altars, you cannot play with it and go free with it. You see? Now, that's why you see people understand these particular intricacies. That's why they prefer to do what? Get another woman outside than to say that I send this woman away. The burden there is too much. How do you face the society? How do you do this? If people outside, they know that you have a girl or something outside, to them is that man gets a second wife, that man deserves it. It's a fun now, they use it as a fun. But the reality of it is that men don't want to do divorce again. They prefer to get a second lady who is going to play the role that these other persons are not playing. These other women are not playing. Because women usually take things for granted. They always think that because you are their man, you are there for them, you love them, they should just do anything at any time, and then pushing you to the wall and the stress. Now look at this, Mr. Leo. The men realize that if 4 women stay in one house, there will be hell. They will be quarreling and arguing. So better scatter them. Scatter them so that you can now, lessen some of the noise. Because those who marry some of those women, it's not even the men that are taking care of those women. Those women are taking care of themselves in most cases. And even taking care of them. Look, it is not even the married men who take care of some of these women. Some of these women take their salaries and spoil and take care of that man. Just because he meets their emotional needs. He knows how to be, and they want someone that can stand like a father of their child. And they can do anything to keep such a thing. And then you who have your own that is even faithful to you, you are not taking it serious. You are joking. You have your own that is there helping you, is ready to make sacrifices. You cannot take it serious. Then when you see another person go to take a second one, you begin to point fingers. Pressure, depression, and stress in the home can push a man to get more than 5 different women, because it's like a pleasure. Pleasure releases stress. You talk with this one nicely, you sleep with this one today, you have fun with this one today, this one call you and you put laugh today.
Okay.
It's like that.
Quincy Jones and D4 watching on Facebook, good evening to you. Eric Achik also, good evening to you. Mbonifo Shu, all watching on Facebook, good evening to you. Baka Montai, good evening to you. Want you to react to this. Abaka Montai says, Madam, if you tell a woman in Africa that you want to sign a polygamy, she will greedily not allow want the man to, because she wants to be alone. And if the man says, okay, let's go out our ways, she will she'll change. You refuse getting married to a man who says, let's go and sign polygamy. But most often, you accept to date a man who will house you and keep you for years, maybe have children with a man. Yes, but will not want to sign with somebody for polygamy because you hope that one day you're going to have your own man.
Exactly. In fact,
isn't it complex?
In such a case, people have understood, as Singer is saying, people have understood the ramifications, what it means to take an engagement called marriage before the various authorities. So that's why such people will not want to go them into an engagement that I'm married, because they can stay. In fact, they know that they are just into something which is temporal in its nature. They can have kids, they can have, but they are not married. They prefer to just be in that kind of relationship. What I want to say is that most often, when people get married and things get to this level, marriage is like the engine of a car that you need to service. You need to change the oil. You need to add water. You need to do this. You need to do a lot of maintenance. Marriage is the same. You think that because you got married, you just remain on the past platform, you'll be getting it all wrong. You must do everything daily to renew and reinforce the marital bond between the two of you.
Every day.
Every day. Else there's going to be this kind of tendency where a man, because somebody said variety is the spice of life. A man who has not built a system of values for himself, who wants to see a woman, you know, who has a different build-up from his wife and say, let me test this one. And when he tests it, or however it turns out, it may end up being a deuxième bureau, as we're talking here now. So the marital bond is something that can be weakened by virtue of the laxity and the laziness of the two people involved. But if the two of you keep working on your relationship, trying to get love remain aflame, it is going to remain aflame to the point where no one will want to withdraw also and go and, you know, be fooling around with another woman. So most often people get married and you know, they don't function together. Communication is getting poor by the day. They don't know how to manage conflict. Finances come to tear them apart. They don't hang around. They don't play. They don't even pray together. It's like they're living together in marriage, and most often they meet only to discuss about children issue. They meet in maybe some brief sex or some kind of thing. When it's like that, the marital bond begins to get weak, and it doesn't happen in a day. It's a process.
It takes a longer time.
A very long time. As it is getting weak every day, getting weak and going, one day it will just completely rupture. Yes. You see that the man is emotionally drained and pulled to some other person, while the woman also is feeling frustrated because the man she got married to is no longer the man who showed her concern as it happened in the early days. So she begins to feel emotional, and that is how the relationship begins to tear apart. And then one thing that happens also is that some men are still too boyish. I thought this is an English word as boyish. They are still too boyish that they don't have principles that guide them. They are under negative peer influence. They see their friend has told them, I want to go see some manga where the other side.
They just go.
No, they begin to say, hey, if this my friend is talking about two other women that he is keeping elsewhere, and me, I'm only with one woman here, it means I'm not man enough. They begin to say, let me also copy from him. They look for another woman elsewhere, they look for another one, they look for another one. And at the end of it all, you see that if their company, if their people, their entourage was different, they would not even have in mind to go to do such things. But when they go, they drink with guys, they drink with friends, and some say, okay, in fact, maybe they live in the same neighborhood. They say, let's drive home. They say, no, I will sleep today, but this way. They say, who are you sleeping with? So I have a woman this way that I'm keeping. So he begins to look at himself as if he is he's missing out on something very, very pertinent in life. And then it drives him towards such a lifestyle.
Especially if you have a funny woman at home.
Especially when your wife back at home is not living up to standard.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. This is Kate from Douala. The irony is only average or wealthy men go around and do such. I don't think the poor men can go around and keep women. But Mr. Liu, where does this my sisters meet these men that can even house them and pay their bills? Wonders. But let's take this seriously. Karma is real, and God's wrath is equally real. Kate, they are there, so many of them.
In the final.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Leo and the panelists. One man, one woman is a Western culture, not biblical. The Bible did not condemn polygamy, and polygamy is our culture in Africa. If polygamy is a taboo as ascertained by the West and widely preached by African pastors, then nature could have tried to balance the ratio of men to women. Pius is writing from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. Thank you very much, Pius. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the crew. It's Ngome Nelson from Sangmelima. Some of the reasons men do keep women outside of their home is because of money, because it boosts the men in them. Secondly, some men do cheat or practice this behavior, not because they want to, but because the women are wanting him. Okay, yes, but he has to resist now. Will you accept everybody?
The women are wanting him.
Yes. Let me read this one from the Prince of Isu, who is watching us live from Yaoundé. He says that official wives are not satisfactory. Everybody is polygamous. Is this something that women should start having? Do most women who are living with their men actually believing that these men don't have, you said deuxième bureau out there? Can we really assume that women living with their husbands have the impression that their husbands are just for them?
Now,
in Cameroon?
I'm going to talk in two different offices, as a sociologist and also as a Christian. As a Christian, we want women to sit up and start praying for their home, so that some bad things should not happen. You know, when they point out some issues in the family that's not working, please do everything to change it. Don't begin to assume. Don't assume. The people you're living with, they are not spirits. They are human beings. And they can go to any extreme when some kind of things come up. You know, you will look at your husband or you look at your wife like this. They tell you that this is the woman or the woman you know. They'll say that, no, I don't know them. They'll appear to you like total strangers because you don't know when you push somebody to the extent to which people can go. Now, Mr. Leo, I will tell you that this whole thing should be looked into because the government is aware. Many people are aware of the Zim Bureau. They are aware. Even at the court where they are telling you that you stick to this one woman and this woman alone, they are aware. Even in the church where they are talking, they will know that they are aware. Because women, you're talking about somebody getting married to the secretary and whatever. The people that show you love every time, the tendency that you begin to develop feeling for them is obvious. Those who are showing you love and concern, giving you food, doing this, you begin to develop some kind of feelings for them. If you are not disciplined enough, you go out of hands. And now we are telling the woman, like what you're asking now, women should put probabilities in their beliefs. Never put it that it cannot happen. Never. If you say it cannot happen, you have heartbreak, heart attack, kidney problem at the same time. But yes, because of this. The advent of the internet has posed a lot of problems to homes. Because you talk to 1,000 women every day. This woman is ready to salute you. This one is giving you the address. This one is telling you this. This one says they love you. This one says this. And you look at them, beautiful women. And you go and you check some of the activities they do. They are very hardworking and so many other things. And some are ready to even sponsor some of your projects and everything. But why the woman in the house is never someone that is never steady at home, is always away and away. Know that something is happening somehow. So get ready to begin to accept this issue of polygamy. We should be able to accept it, because don't accept it like marrying another woman, but accept it in the form of saying that my husband can still have another person outside. Because that is not only husband, women are also into this thing. The women are not satisfied with these particular artificial things that we eat every day. It is boosting people's adrenaline, and then people want to satisfy themselves, and then a man will come and then will not be able to satisfy you. What happens?
Okay, Apostle, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we move on with this topic on the discussion. Okay, seemingly the producer is not there. We are going to continue discussing. I'll take this message from someone. You are going to provide the advice. Greetings, Mr. Leo and crew. My wife is using sex to punish me because she knows I'm a believer.
Oh my God.
I've downloaded teachings on marriage, but she hardly watches them. We make love once in 2 or 3 months, at times for more than 6 months, and only when she decides so. Derek is writing from Boya. I need your advice, please.
Wow. It's a very serious issue there, because a woman who does such a thing is by her nature evil. Because biblically, you are not permitted to do so.
I know, God, make the team loud. His name, that name, you just call it there. A by nature evil.
Evil, that is, in fact, let me raise volume, in fact, in response to the apostle's request. That is pure evil.
Evil.
Why? Because one, the Bible forbids such a woman from doing such.
Because your body does not belong to you.
Your body belongs to your husband, and your husbands belong to you. And you are supposed to deprive one another from sex just for a season, and by agreement to pray, and then you return to activity. So you are not supposed to do that. So in this case, I think this man, if you keep discussing only with the two of you, it might be very difficult for her to pick sense from what you're saying, because you think she'll be thinking that he just wants to be selfish and satisfy his sexual desire, of which it is his legal entitlement.
Legal right.
A right. So that woman, this Operation Sparrowhawk is supposed to catch that woman. That's embezzlement. Right? Embezzling somebody's property.
Yes.
So I think, Mr. Derek, what you can do is in fact, take her along, get a counselor talk with you people. Because if they don't talk, if a counselor does not talk to the two of them, the woman will keep thinking that maybe she is on her right, maybe, because one thing too, this particular question is a little tricky because it could be the woman is having challenges enjoying sex with the man. That is also one thing.
Yeah, but the other implication is this not also pushing the man outside to having other guys out there, or the other way around? If a woman says, I have sex twice in 2-3 months or 6 months, could it not also suggest that she may be having satisfaction from somewhere else?
That is the kind of people.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily, because women don't easily get trained to this act of sexuality.
Some
like
women.
Women. Majority. I mean, we talk about the majority.
Okay.
The normal trend. Normally, men easily get trained in for sex than women because they are moved by sight. So, in this case, it might also be that the act is not performed well, and maybe she has painful sensations during sex.
Yes.
And
which is medical.
Which can
be treated.
Can be medical, or maybe they don't do it well. It could be his preparing the woman for the act of sexuality. It can be a problem. So in this case, they need to talk to two of them and have a diagnosis. To have a one-size-fits-all attempt to this question may not be too good, but the woman, if that is the problem, she should also show, she can show different signs, like I'm really wanting that we should have it, but the challenge is this is what I'm facing. So dialogue can help, and then going for counseling for them to be able to identify what is the cause of it, and then try to proffer solutions to it is actually is recommended.
Bonsoir, bon débat, Monsieur Léo. Je vous suis depuis Marois. Je viens de me marier à peine 4 mois. Au départ, on avait une même vision, mais dès qu'elle a eu son papier, c'est devenu qu'elle réalise ses projets dans sa propre famille, et mon salaire n'est jamais suivi. I don't know what it means. Seemingly they just got married, and when they got married, almost they were working together. She has her papers, and seemingly she has money, and her projects now are towards her family.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, maybe talking about papers in terms of after they signed, maybe they were still written. That's how I picked it out.
Maybe
I
don't know. She had her money, that kind of a thing.
When she had papers, I'm sure when she had her papers in terms of maybe when it was signed.
Au départ, on vient de se marier à peine 4 mois. Au départ, on avait une même vision, mais dès qu'elle a eu son papier, c'est devenu qu'elle réalise ses projets dans sa propre famille.
That is the whole thing. You know what I think is, that is the trick of women. Most of them just want to marry, and after that they change titles and everything. I am lamenting because our brothers out there, especially abroad, they are suffering from this same thing, because the women have right over the men. A woman can only be evil to go to certain extents like that. You suffered with this man, and then you get to a point where now you have the money, and then you begin to treat the man as if it is something that you picked it on the street. Now, if you were already working and you had your money, it's different from the time that you people have, been together when there was no money, and all of a sudden money start coming, and that's when you now know that the man is lazy or the man cannot produce money. That is evil.
Yeah.
And when you see such traces, those are people who don't have the fear of God. Those are people who don't have anything they hold in honor. Because if they have honor for maybe a deity, they will be afraid to say, I will not treat my man poorly because he cannot offer at this moment. When we did not have, he was there. He stood with me, he was around and everything. Women have that tendency. When they start having money, it is their family. Everything is their family. They want to concentrate on their family. And that is it. And some families are so heartless to the point where they begin to control their daughter right in the house of another man. And then when a man goes and pick 3, 4, 5 wives outside, because now, like somebody was talking about, you date other women and then you have money to parents. These days, it's not even the men that pay. The women give it. They are ready to take care of you because of what? You satisfy their every need. They can be able to even take their salary and come and give you to show you as a respect. Even though after you marry her legally, she will also turn to something else because she knows that something is holding you captives. That is it.
Like you some party.
When you now have access, like those who leave this country, they go when they now have their green card or whatever, they begin to do some gros bras. They were already wicked from the beginning.
Yeah.
A wicked person is from the beginning. Nobody changes you. You are who you are because that was your nature. How can you get up and you change? You forget the time of love. You forget the time when you people have wonderful fantasies together. Because of one or two things, you now have money to take care of your family or other things. You now begin to treat the man like a mean person. And Christians are also involved in this nonsense.
But that circumstance only revealed who you have been from
Yes.
the onset.
That's the thing.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Whether a woman is as submissive as what? If the man wants to cheat, he will still do. But they should know that Kayamata is waiting for them out there. Ima is writing from Bamenda. Okay. Yes, women are really particular about this, but the irony is some of the women also cheat. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love the program. What if on this very case that man is not romantic and feels only to get sex anytime she likes without the woman's will? My name is Boma Joffrey from Santa. Okay, in the case of maybe the man is, but the man would not be romantic for 6 months.
I'm
sure he's responding.
I think that point he's raising is very pertinent because there are some men who need to be taught the act of sexuality. In fact, some couples, men like women. There are some people who are married, but the act of sexuality is a problem within that marriage because they don't have the hands-on skills of how to make it enjoyable. There are some men, the moment they have their, their sexual desire satisfied, they care less about the woman, which is not supposed to be so. So I think what he's raising there is a pertinent point.
Very pertinent.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's why I said, because I think he's speaking in response to the question from Derek.
Derek, who says that, yeah.
Yes, so I think
Derek needs to work on...
not that we are in parentheses now.
Assuming.
We are saying that it's good they should have a kind of clinical discussion
okay.
where it is a diagnosis and then there is an approach to what the diagnosis will have revealed that is the cause of all of that.
Greetings to you in the studio. What about the man who allows his wife in the room and only enters the room when he's in need of sex? Meso, writing from Bamenda, exactly what the other person just wrote about. We need to be more romantic. I think that is
I think that in that case, Mr. Leo, the truth is there is no communication between both parties. That particular fellowship, that particular companionship, it's not there. You should know that. And it has gone to the point where it's only sex that keeps both of you, then that marriage is not existing. Okay. There will be a problem someday.
Greetings, Mr. Leo and crew. A nice topic tonight. Some women may also have men out of home because the man's ways are not satisfying her, are not enjoyable. Take, for instance, before the women get to orgasm, the man is already done, leaving her emotionally unsatisfied. Diana is writing from Bamenda. Okay, so greetings, Mr. Leo. It's Wheezy from Bamenda. This life is not balanced. The same men who go about keeping women all around can't stand another man with their wife. So all this thing is the mentality of women accepting to be with a married man. This saying that dating a married man is like driving a government car. It will never be yours. Okay, you think so? Yeah, that car may end up in the hands of the man. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Rose from Bamenda. I think keeping the home right is the responsibility of both the husband and the wife. We should not give 80% of the responsibility to the woman alone. If a man chooses a woman among many, let him behave himself and not be boyish, as the man in white dress said. And many men are influenced by bad pair too. Every married man should get mature and responsible in his marriage. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the men of God. I always love your program, Mr. Kum. I am a victim of your I am a victim of your topic today, but I tell you the truth, my wife sent me out, and now I'm thinking of divorcing her. The man is writing from Loom, okay? Good evening to you all in the panel. A pertinent special problem for men of God. What will you do if you find out that your active member is keeping more than one wife? Yes, would you send them to the back bench? Good evening, Mr. Leo. Is Belinda writing from Bamenda? I just want to say we should not be moved by what we see on social media. But I don't know whether anybody has a reaction to what has come in so far. But I want us to look at the situation where you are the woman in the house. You've discovered that your man has 2, 3 wives he is housing and has kids with them. What do you do? You're laughing. No. You talk.
I must say,
you go back to God now in prayer.
Just do nothing. That's just the truth.
What do you do?
The issue is that the first thing you don't want to do is to act drama, because most of
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. the first reaction will be for you to act drama. They could see me. I could do this thing. I could when you take it to higher that way, you will surely miss the mark. But if such a thing happens, you calm down. You begin. For me, the first of things is that you pray. If you believe in prayers, you believe in God, you pray. Followed by you seek dialogue, discuss with the man. It's difficult, but try to calm down and discuss, dialogue with the man. When you dialogue with the man, there may be some issues that may come up in the course of the dialogue which point out to the fact that the man did this thing for this or this, as we first discussed, and we're trying to identify some of the reasons that make people to end up in this issue of keeping women here and there. So if you see so and discover that from your own end there were some issues that you had as lapses, you can now at that particular point see how you do the adjustments, and then you discuss with the man, and also see if there are areas that you want him to do some adjustments, he does. This thing, as one of the listeners said, it has to do with 2 people. Marriages don't work because one person was very hard working in their marriage. If one person is working very hard and the other person is all just laxed, things may not turn out well. But when the 2 are working, at least it will make things much better. So I'm saying that such a woman is not supposed to be so hot. When you discover it, you are very, very hot about it. You are very, in fact, you become so erratic. You want to attack the man, you want to attack the woman, you want to do this, you want to do that. When you ask questions, you discuss with the man, you will surely be able to pick out the reason for which the man went out, or the reason for which he is keeping other women. If it's that, for instance, like this other case where Derek is telling us that the woman is starving him sexually. You as the woman, if the man is pointing out that I have gone out because you have been starving me sexually, you want to upgrade. If the man is going out because maybe you are not, your own commitment to the home is actually minimal, you also want to be more committed so that the home becomes better. So
some of the women have marine spirits.
Marine spirits?
They need to be delivered.
Okay. I need to come to your church so that I pray for them.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Desmond, please, I need you in here. Good evening, Mr. Leo and crew. What if you are ready to make everything possible for your home to grow, but the man sees you as foolish and can't make good decisions? Joyce is writing from Aquano. This in Douala. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the men of God in the studio. Marion is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Marion. Mo writing from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Leo. I think men are born cheats no matter how hard women try. My son's father corrected my errors with his cheating habits to the extent that I even visited his girlfriend's family to ask for knock door requirements, all in a bid to keep him. Yet he still cheated on both of us. Wow.
That's a big problem.
Yeah. Good evening, my media prime. I and my husband stayed for more than 6 months without sex and did not ask, and I refused to give him. Lately, he complained that I have deprived him of sex for months. Is it actually my fault? Queen Karen writing from Douala. Wow. You just stayed like brothers and sisters. Nobody was asking for sex and you just lived on.
That question has a little scam in it.
Okay.
Yes. She too did not want the sex. Or did she not? Because there are some women who think it is only the man that is supposed to request for sex, which is something that has to be corrected.
Disagreement, and because of that, pride comes in. The one shows maybe let's not the one sex. Especially people who are very religious, they claim that no maybe let's not they over ask sex, and it becomes a problem. That's it.
Okay.
So I think there must be this seriousness when it comes to two people. When you have your differences, settle it. Don't wait until you keep yourselves for 6 months, then you say that this one have deprived me. No, put it. It's a normal thing. You can always settle these things and go back. And sometimes a woman may not be taking good care of herself. You know, you can make the man not to be also have that desire for you. You may also have a spiritual problem that is scaring away the man, because spirit husbands are very jealous. Spirit husbands know how to possess a woman and drive away the husband in the same room. In the same room. Some kind of things. So spirit husbands can destroy marriages, and that's why people must go for deliverance. Okay. Some of you are in a church and they no deliverance, no spiritual, prayers or kind of thing. You take it like that.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. What happened in a situation where the man provides everything to the woman and she at one time says she's shy and fails to even give you a peck on the jaw, talk less of kissing? Elisha is writing from Limbe. You people know what type of love you are playing. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Leo. What about men who prefer to masturbate instead of going out for another wife? We understand all these are sin, but which one is preferable, please, men of God? My wife is always out for business trip for months, and I don't want to cheat on her. Oscar is writing from Edea. That's a difficult one. Oscar, good evening, Mr. Liu and the men of God in the studio. Kudos to you people for your wonderful topics on this, our darling TV station. Neat Cosmetics is writing from men that Neat Cosmetics is the best as far as cosmetics is concerned in Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. Greetings to you in the studio. Most of such secret marriages are mostly being provoked by an increase in income or loss of trust from one partner. Chia Lambert is writing from Koteng. Man of God, in your case, what happens if the woman discovers that the man has 2-3 wives with their houses? How do you sort these things out?
You have two options. Either you seek to separate for the marriage, number one, or you seek to accept it and move on. That's just it. And many more people will want to accept, they separate or they go away. Many people will want to divorce. They say no, we want to divorce. But the truth about it is that has become your family. There's just nothing you can do about it. When something has come to the point where other children are involved, you have no choice. You just have to be there. Especially, let me ask you a question. Let me tell you something. When a masculine figure is lacking in the house, the tendency that your children will rise up and be fine there's a big challenge. It is different when a single mother wants to take care of children than that the children knew that they had a father and something happened before they separated. That home will never be fine. So that for you to, you realize that these things are happening and you get up, the first thing you think is divorce or you're going away and that kind of a thing. It will happily go and raise up the other family, because maybe you never made your home comfortable for him. Because that is what most women do today. You make your home very uncomfortable for a man, then he looks for where he can get comfort. Because, yes.
We are going to be coming back to this topic. Time for our next topic. I'll start the second topic for tonight with, yes, you don't want us to stop here? We are going to come back to this part 2. We need to look at part 2 of this. If not, we will not be able to discuss the second topic for tonight. So this evening, we're also looking at Bushfallers. This is your time. Most of them are coming home to look for wives and maybe concretize engagements of those they met either online or maybe their parents or friends recommended them to these ladies. This is the time for them to come and officialize the weddings. Why is it that they prefer to come and get married to women back here? Let's start with you, Mr. Sanji Yvette from Bamenda.
Mr. Leo, good evening once more. Yeah, Bushfallers will prefer to come home to look for a wife because obviously you know that marrying a white that way is just, most of them is first of all contract marriages. The kind of idea they have about marriages is different from ours. you know, the cultural difference, everything. So most often they want, if they want lasting marriages, they will want to come back home and have a wife. But now there is a problem on how these things are being done. Sometimes they want to come home, get a wife here, marry the wife, keep the wife with their family, then go back to Europe, and then still go and living like a married man with a white woman. You cannot even access them. You cannot call them anytime and get to them. You cannot call them anytime and get to them because they are living with a white woman. The white woman obviously should be the one spending the money, housing, or doing most of the things. So we'll tell you that it's for paperwork and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there is one woman here in the country in the name of wife, but the man is married, living, even bearing children that way. So when you look at this, you begin to wonder that, so why is it important to even come home and marry? Is it that you're coming home to marry just to please your parents, maybe your parents parental pressure? Because even when they have the other woman that way and they have children with them, most of the family members still know. I've had a case where the family members knew about it, only the wife did not know. When she learns about it that the man has a wife and children the other way, you know, you cannot explain, what cannot describe that kind of betrayal. That is betrayal of the highest order. Even your mother-in-law knew about it, your father-in-law, your sisters-in-law, everybody knew about it except you. And so they're looking at you like a fool. This is how far some of these men go. And I've had cases like that for counseling. The woman comes crying, what should I do? The man is married. The family kept it away from her. So I don't know if sometimes I find it difficult to really explain the reasons behind these bushfallers really coming to get married. If the marriage is not for the purpose of marriage, I mean the purpose, because the purpose of marriage, the way God defines it, is different from what these men are doing.
Okay. What is the experience you've had? Many of our brothers, they prefer to come back home here and get married to our sisters. What is the reason? They're better cultured, or they're readily available, or they are more naive compared with the women out there? Because there are women out there now.
Yeah. For me, it is very normal. My problem with this marriage is the approach.
Okay.
This is a very normal phenomenon. For me, it's really encouraged because of the cultural compatibility. But the approach is usually the problem in that, one, you see a man will have been, let's say, take for granted, a man has been living in the US for about 11 years, and then gets in contact with a lady back here, maybe on social media or through recommendation or some other means. And they hook up, they start talking marriage, and after a few months, because they have done video exchanges, video calls, and naked themselves and all the other things, they think the man's cousin or brother who is back here will represent him in a traditional marriage, and then they do the things and maybe even sign or something, and then the lady comes over to the US, and then they continue living together as husband and wife. The approach is usually the problem in that, one, these people have not known themselves. Two, they have not followed due process to be able to cook themselves and get orientated as to what marriage is all about, and known one another and understood that these are the challenges, the potential pitfalls, because every relationship is unique. There is every peculiarity, a peculiarity for every relationship. So if they sort all of these things out before getting married, I will not have any problem with it. It gets bad when December has reached and somebody comes without preparedness to, just concretize. Since there's money, when it comes, there's some cash, there's some dollars that they have gathered over time, and they want to just go do the traditional marriage and call a very big wedding sometimes. And for me, that is the problem. That's the major issue with it. The cultural compatibility, as Madam Asanji said, there are mindsets across there that do not fit our local realities. So if I have grown here and this is my culture, and I'm thinking of coming back here one day, and I go and I meet maybe a Tanzanian across in the US, and marry, because not necessarily marrying a white there, some other nationality or some other person. There are issues, there are national cultures that will not be compatible. So it's better I come back home and get married to somebody who is at least of my culture and with whom we can, you know, easily blend. That is the general perspective. But the challenge I have with these relationships is the approach. They do it so much in a hurry. They do it, in fact, with so much of, you know, bias. When I talk of bias here, when some women, when they hear that the man is coming to marry from the US, whatever be the case, she puts every other factor aside, and since he's coming from America to marry me, I care less about any other thing, and I embrace the relationship with all that I'm made of. And the man comes, maybe you don't know whether the man is doing the drugs across there to make his livelihood. He comes, pick you up, you go there, and you begin to see the reality of what he lives there as against somebody who you have even lived with and have an understanding and know the person well, or in fact live in a relationship for a while. Yes, I think I've had a few cases where some women have, some people that have left from there, come and gotten married here, but they have followed due process and the relationships are doing well. Yeah.
But the men don't do what the women do.
Come again, they don't.
You cited a case of women who came and got married here and went back and it was successful. Women and men.
No. I mean, men came.
Okay, I thought you talked of women. Yes, your experience as a man of God, you've had instances, you've watched some of your Christians and family relations. So generally, persons get married. What is your take on what is going to be happening in the next weeks?
We usually say something in our pidgin language, Koniman die, Koniman bury.
Okay.
Koniman die, Koniman bury. Most of these people have some agendas that are not right.
Okay.
Most. And when you have a wrong foundation, marriage can never hold. Now, why do you think that the women in Africa are always good people? Or why do you think that they are always cultured in a good culture? Why do you think that? Because they are Africans? Because I know the Africans are brought there. The Africans who are your neighbors, the Africans in the same church you go to, you know, maybe Cameroonians in the same church you go to are brought there. And you don't marry those ones there that you people understand the setup in which you operate in. You prepare to come here and come and take another neutral one, you know, because you have an agenda of what? You can now have an upper hand to ride over her. And you come to discover that in some few months to come, this girl will be so educated by those same members of your church and educated by those same people in that society that you did not want to marry, in such a way that she becomes more powerful than those people in that place. And since she is very naive, they can teach her all the wrong things and she will accept all the wrong things. Most of these are brothers who came and married from this country. They are suffering. They are crying. Because some of these girls already have boyfriends over there. They were here together. And when they go over there, the next thing you see, they start keeping relationship with the boyfriends. And before you discover, they start spoiling the home. After they spoil what happened, they go to their boyfriend, not knowing that the boyfriend also is ready to do what? To also deal with them. That is how these things usually work. You know, these guys always think that they have some pious women in Africa or in Cameroon that they have kept. I have one of my classmates that was going, you know, for the distance time that both of you separated, so many things have changed. So many things have changed. You cannot come back. You are separated with a woman just for 2 years. If you come back, you cannot recognize that woman again. Behaviors are formed in 21 days. That's what psychology says. Behaviors are formed in 21 days. And then you leave somebody for 4, 5 years, 3 years, and you come back, you think you want to marry her, she's still the same person. No, she's not. She has changed and many other things. And when she goes out there, some of them are very desperate. What they are looking for to grab is the next dollar, is the next pound, is the next euro. They want to grab the next thing. They are very desperate because some of them came from very poor backgrounds. And look, some of these guys who live out there and come, they don't go to marry from rich families. They go to marry from very poor families. Because of what? They think that they can be able to show power and money and influence and therefore control the will of that woman. Only to realize that the woman was desperate. All she wanted, how to take care of her family, how to help her family. And some of them will go to the extent of even bringing their family members abroad there without even telling them or without even them knowing what is happening. What is really happening? Most of these are ladies who go out there and change their culture. They change their good behaviors. They just become something different. because of the Western civilization or Western culture. And then you know that even if I separate with this man, obviously the man will still be given monthly allowance, or the court will declare that you'll be given upkeep and those kind of things. And so they just decide to live in that. Even if he's getting married to another woman, he has to be taking care of them. And that is exploitation. But how long would that last? Because most of them will go and behave like that. Karma catches up with them. Just like what we always say. Karma catches up with them. You hurt that boy who genuinely came here and married you. She came and gave you prestige in your family, gave you honor and respect. All of a sudden, you have money now. You think you can do any rubbish and go with it. Let me tell you, the God of those altars that you went and signed those marriages has a way of catching up back with you. Because what's the essence? What is the essence of saying that, okay, now you have money, and you turn against the man who came to honorably take you from Africa? They did everything. Come and see how these guys usually, they are desperate to bring their wives over. Sometimes they go to extremes, sometimes they go for loans, they go for so many other things. And then when they succeed to bring the woman over, all of a sudden the woman is a big woman now. She knows the law, she knows the this, she knows the this. So she wants to go against these people. And that's why I want to tell you that if you really want to get true love, this is the secret. Marry people who have the culture you have there abroad. That is my own. You suggested that they should come here and marry and this thing. But I suggest that you look for someone who already know how you people operate in that place. So that you people already have an agreement. I know so you will go for money that you come and for night. I know so you will get billed and for pay. So you go pay part, me to a pay part. So you already know it. Then these other girls who come say, how you go marry to somebody do that kind of thing? Enough you work. Enough you work. And also the man begin, now they take care for people. Yes. So I prefer you look for one good girl in the church. Over there, you have them there.
In the church?
Maybe their churches, that is their social gatherings. Okay. That is where they attend. No, on Sundays they go to churches now, and they go to social gatherings now.
I thought the church prepares the best.
Yes. So you can look for one of those girls there who at least have a little bit of respect and some kind of thing. Marry them because they already understand the setup. Okay. The new ones always come and misfire, and the way they want to misfire is very dangerous. I know of cases like that. So many cases suffering today.
Good evening in the studio, Mr. Liu. I got a child with my fiancé before we got married. After he traveled abroad and left me back home with my child. It's been 6 years now. He had not come back.
Okay, look at that.
He sends me money and everything he sends home is registered in the name of the child, and even the house he built for us. Anytime I ask him home, he says his documents have been seized at the embassy, and even now it's as if he has no interest of coming back home. It will soon be 7 years now. How can I continue to live like this? He doesn't even want me to travel and meet him, saying that he is not secured where he is. Yet, how can I handle this? I'm Delphine, writing from Douala.
You are in trouble.
Difficult case.
It's not a difficult case. It's very easy. It's very easy.
Move on with your life.
You are not married.
You say just a fiance. Move on with your life, because I've seen many cases that they come and imprison somebody's daughter here in the name of a marital proposal they had done or even done knock door. Move on with your life.
Okay. At the court, if a marriage is redundant for 2 years, you have the right to annul it.
Okay. Desmond, I expect to see some pictures on can we have the pictures I just sent to you on our screens? It's sent to me by somebody who is watching the program. Once the pictures are ready, let me know, Desmond, please. When they're ready, let me know. This one says, for topic 1, greetings to all. Mr. Leo, most women are not remorseful. They hurt you on a daily basis without saying a simple sorry.
Can you imagine?
They trap you at night to still beg them for hurting you. That's the reason for men having a second thoughts. Topic 2, living abroad and coming back home for a help Bushfallers to keep a good name as an African. G. Felix is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please help me with Apostle's number. After the program, please just request for them. Most Bushfallers come home and marry because women over there that way are not submissive enough. Most of them can't manage their house well and don't respect their husbands. You don't expect a woman if 8 years marrying a boy of 22. Madame Jeannette writing from Limbe. The message is not too clear. Good evening to everyone in the studio. Good evening to you too. Good evening, Mr. Liu and your guest. Bushfallers know that our sisters are hungry to fall bush and thus will accept any condition blindly. They are getting married to USA, Europe, Middle East, and not to Elvis. Okay, Kelvin. It's a pity for most of those guys are married to a white or native in their host countries. Derek Walla is writing from Chang. Okay, good evening, House of Peace for Marriages. This program has been a blessing to my home. I can now experience peace in my home. I will advise everyone to be connected. Donat is writing from Bomenda. Thank you very much, Donat. Hi. I'm Mr. Nasiri. When I got married, I told my wife I love sex and that she should be available for me whenever I request. Okay, yeah, but not when she's sick now. Yes. That's one. Once you already let me know. But these sisters from home, are they necessarily better than the girls out there?
No, this is for me a little contrary to what Apostle is saying. This is how I look at it. I've lived in the US and I have seen a little of what fellow men have gone through in the hands of women.
Okay.
Because the right that is given to women is right up there as against men. Especially those ones that have grown there from childhood and have seen, and you know, they know how to call 911 when their parent has beaten them up. Those ones you can really be very sure that these ones are time bombs, that you will marry them, and as a man you will not have the say as an African man will want to have in that home. So they will prefer that I want to go and pick somebody up. It's true, some women leave from here after they're married and go and change, as Apostle is saying, but at times when they look around and see the kind of mess that has subsisted in marital relationships, they will want to go come over to Africa or to Cameroon and pick up their fellow sister who should still have some African values in her, that you should respect your husband. That when he's talking, you should not look at him face to face like this and open your eyes to him, because you have some women emancipation and some women right something that's going to back you up. So when they come so now and they finally hit their hands on the rock too, it's just going to be these things we're talking about. What I'm saying is this:
okay,
if they prefer
to get sisters who, to some extent, are well cultured,
they don't
have that mindset of 911.
They have seen. In fact, somebody said when fire burns you and you see wood ash, you should be very careful. A snake bite, you see a millipede, you should be very careful. They have seen all forms of things happen to fellow men there, orchestrated by women. So they don't want to go through these kind of things their brothers have gone through, because their women have been given other kind of right. You do something against a woman, as they say, when they separate, there's alimony they have to pay, there's all of this. They are afraid that this can be before them. So they think that when they come here, people still have that kind of civil mindset.
These girls still go there and still become the same, and even worse.
That will be some isolated cases. It will not be at all times. So that's why I was saying that if the approach is well followed, good.
Maybe you list some of those approaches. I want us to look at it.
Okay.
Some people will be listening to us.
Approach in terms of don't do it too in a hurry.
No, a hurry.
Get counseling.
Don't assume that you already know the person.
Don't assume, yes, and make sure that there is a due process you people follow. Have somebody talk to two of you.
The person should have mentors and
mentors
who are
you are
leading,
talking, Apostle. Have people talk to you people and fashion your mindset to the end that you don't go and you want to flow with the trend of the society.
And you also should not take her there and go and be maltreating her.
Go and maltreat her because you have lived here for a long time and you know how it happens. So if you people have that kind of orientation and you are serious about it, they will make it. Why will you not make it?
Okay.
They will make it big.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. Can I have those pictures on our screen, please? I received this from a viewer and I want to do this for him and the family. He says, good evening, Mr. Liu. Good evening to the apostles in the house. I want to thank my Media Prime TV for this program. I thank you. I thank you, Mr. Liu, for the good work you are doing in this program. I thank the apostles and all the men of God who have been giving us counseling, and all the counselors. We are grateful for your teachings and counseling. Please, Mr. Liu, I want to wish my wife, can we have, okay, that's the wife. I want to wish my wife, my angel, my gifts from heaven to me, my love, and me a happy 7th marriage anniversary today. Please, Mr. Leo, if Apostle Alfred can pray for us. I am Obase Emmanuel and my wife Olivia and Jiwo. We are in Yaoundé. Thanks, sir. Okay, can you just say a word over the family?
Yes, yes. I pray for you. That joy, that laughter I see on your faces will never be taken away from you.
Amen.
It will increase and you will grow in grace. Your children shall make you proud and you shall be a happy family.
Amen.
Nothing shall come between you in the name of Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Amen.
so we join you, Mr. Obase Emmanuel, and the wife Olivia and Jiwo, all living in Yaoundé to celebrate their
we celebrate
7th anniversary. Yes,
we celebrate.
Yes, we are going to, since we are still talking on this, we take the second intervention from Mr. Sanji Yvette from Bumenda.
Just like I said, when most of these bushfallers marry the women and keep them back home, these women go through torture sometimes from their in-laws. I've had a case where the man is there abroad, the woman has put to bed. The father-in-law even beats her. Takes the child, beats her with the child until the child almost fell. Sometimes he takes the child before beating her. Then he will ask her, because she did something wrong, he will ask her to kneel down in front of the other sister-in-laws, in front of everybody, to apologize. Then when this woman gets to tell the husband that this is what I'm going through, please rent me an apartment, the husband sees like, you are bringing me problems between my family and myself. So even if bushfallers have to come and get married to women here and go back abroad, I will give them one advice: rent an apartment for them, please. Most of these ladies, don't keep them with your parents, because sometimes even the food that they eat, like the case I had, the lady cannot even eat from the pot, like dish food and eat, or when she cooks, nobody eats her food. That is her food. But when the mother-in-law cooks, she goes to the pot and takes food there. It's a problem. It's a problem. So you see how some of these things come to affect such marriages, and then not everybody is able to maintain long-distance relationships. Before coming to marry these women here, make it known to them how long would the two of you stay apart. Are you planning for them to travel over? Are you planning for them to stay here until you finally come back to the country, and establish a business here? Let all of these things be well explained, because sometimes some of these ladies finally stay here and then end up dating other guys, and once it is discovered, it's a problem. You marry a woman and keep here for more than 4 or 5 years, you have not come back to the country. What kind of marriage is that? Even if you were to stay abroad to be coming, at least you make it a duty to come even once a year and come and spend even a month with your family. And like I said, it's preferable you rent them an apartment. But if you're not serious about the marriage, there's no reason getting married here when you have another family that way. There's no reason depriving a young lady from getting married to another person because you want to marry them and keep them here, whereas you are not serious.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Leo. Most of our brothers know that married a woman from home make their families grateful and know the woman has a wife material in them. Jude is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Excuse me. And the pastors, what about the situation where a woman ties to keep the marriage, but the man would not, on the grounds that the woman is unable to have children, whereas the man already has children out of wedlock? The woman is still ready to keep the relationship to an extent that the woman asks the man to go in for another wife since he still needs more children. But the man packed out of the house and starts living with another woman and got married to her. Can one manage such a situation? Yeah, not too good, eh? Yeah. Greetings once more, Mr. Liu, and everyone in the studio. It's Wheezy from Bamenda. It still boils down to the women again. They are excited over getting married to bushfallers without knowing what they are doing, and the girls always make themselves available for these guys, and the guys too are aware of it. It's not like there are no Cameroonian women in the USA. They are there, but these bushfallers don't see them because they have hidden agenda to take in naive, innocent girls. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your programs so much because they are always educative. More courage. Hamza is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the entire crew in the studio. In most of these cases, the women are the cause. If you see a man who goes out of their marital home deliberately, then that kind of a man was initially a flirt before getting married. Most marriages these days are too provoking that each partner use each other's weakness to cheat on each other. Munyoy Jacob Jaxi writing from Jakiri. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. The men that go out sometimes after marriage is because some women really are a problem respecting their husbands, and a man in nature wants respect, and some men will always look for where there is respect. Stop calling, please. This is Victor writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Rose from Bamenda. Many men are still tied down by cultural beliefs that the woman has no voice. Good communication is very vital in the union in all aspects. Some are commanders. Rape is very common in marriages, which can be solved through dialogue. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I believe there is always a reason why a man cheats on the wife, though, but I believe only a good heart does good things, as earlier said by Apostle. Okay. Bertin is writing from Bonaberry. Good evening to you, Bertin. Or what should be the best way is to follow what the prescription of Reverend already?
Yes.
That you have to take time to master the person.
Good.
But the biggest problem is getting married to a Cameroonian is one thing, a girl back home. Taking them over is another ball game, where you have people getting married and then the girl ends up staying here for 6, 7, 10 years.
Yes, it has always been a problem, especially when these guys are not yet having maybe a green card, or they're not yet permanently having a living over there. To marry here and then take the wives over there is very difficult, especially if you had not had a marriage certificate that showed that you are married. So it's really challenging. But in some cases, it's very easy because the girl is already trained. The girl is already maybe educated, because they also consider your documents. Because if you marry somebody who is under-educated, they may not take her out there easily because they know that she's still going to be a nuisance, and she's not going to be a dependent. She's not going to have a life of her own. So they usually consider all those kind of things. And most guys who come to marry, they want to marry a younger girl, they want to marry an undereducated girl, they want to marry a girl that is not of a standard so that they can be easily to control and everything. And I want to advise my guys out there, please, you have to be careful the way you do this thing. You know, when you take a woman out from this place, know that she already had a culture, and she knows that you also have to respect home. So by the time you start doing some kind of things, all the gatherings she's going to attend, they'll teach her what is right, and she will do some kind of things. And I want to say that don't get violent on a woman for no reason. Whether you're abroad or you are in Africa, don't get violent on a woman. Here in Africa, we can get violent, beats, do this, they will not do anything. But there, it is easy.
Okay.
Yes.
So I would have loved to actually get the participation of the guys out there to share their experience.
Good.
So that we are on the same level when we discuss these issues.
So I wanted to tell you something about this thing. This thing. There's a mentorship procedure before you pick a wife. Yeah. Let them get a mentor that they can follow up. Some people that know their story, that watch their life, how they go about their daily lives. People who already, they are educated and they are exposed to. Not somebody who is not exposed. Anything that they meet, they will change some kind of things.
Okay.
So, yes.
Good evening to you all watching live from Austin, Texas, United States of America. Most women here are not wife material. They know how to disrespect and call 911 in any slight argument. My name is Elvis Fuengangari. Okay? I think you understand.
Yes.
He's writing from the US. He says, yes. Mr. Liu, most of these guys abroad had engaged 80% of these girls that they come back home to marry. And I would say 65% of the ladies who had been engaged keep themselves for their would-be husbands. But unfortunately, these guys don't still know the sacrifices women take to keep themselves for them.
Yeah.
My sisters, December is here again. Refuse to be the Lord of the Ring. This is Kate writing from Douala. Good evening to you. Kate.
A lot of the ring means that you engage and keep the thing for very long. You put ring on your finger.
Good evening to you, Seliu, and all the panelists. This issue of bush falling marriage is really a call for concern. I have seen cases where a guy got married, yet took the wife with him, and the guy was later repatriated after a setup from the wife. To me, they should get married to foreigners instead. Yeah, that is just a rare case. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I would never understand why one would get married and live with the in-laws, especially the troublesome ones. Let the bushfaller husband rent your own space. It will be even better since you both will have enough privacy when he comes. Miriam is writing from Douala. Good evening to you in the studio. It's Eric from Bomenda. This is a wonderful program. This program is good for single men and women, for them to learn before getting married. I don't understand why a girl would prefer to wait for a man from abroad for 20 years than to wait for a man home to finish his studies within 2 or 3 years and they get married. Yeah, that is also the irony. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I'm really enjoying the program live from Balinyonga. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm grateful watching live from Balinyonga. Keep the good work, and my regards to Apostle Alfred. He's factual and real without pretense. More grace, sir. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and everyone in the studio. I really want to say that women in Africa are more cultured than those who have traveled abroad. African women in the diaspora have become something else because of the white man's culture and system. Secondly, we have more housewife material back home. Prince Bile is writing from Berlin in Germany. I think the Bushfallers are speaking the same language.
Yeah, they are speaking the same language. That's
yes.
true. That's true.
It means that our sisters, when they get out there, they are easily assimilated. Hi, Leonard, writing from Sweden. Most of us return to marry home because we know what we go through here to get papers. We know what type of things most of our sisters go through with most of those old white men just to get papers. I know nobody is perfect, but it's better you return home and marry a girl that has done things you don't know than living with one who has done things you know. Thanks. Dennis is writing from out there. Yeah, we understand these things. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I enjoy the program. More grace to the men of God. Alain is writing from Limbe. We have to end at this juncture. Reverend, thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for the for the great things that are happening.
Okay.
I said you're usher this week.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we say we are grateful, Len. It's thanks to you that these programs are also working strong. Yeah, thank you too, Apostle, for coming.
Yeah, we thank you. As you can see there in front of Mr. Liu is the awards we are getting from what we are doing out there. It shows that we are working very hard. And we want to say that please, you people continue to be our ambassadors and let us continue to win more awards, and we will do better and better and better. And on the 19th and the 20th, I'll be in Boya for a marriage seminar just around University Junction. That the hall there, you want to get much on my Facebook. We are going to be there to teach on marriage, and I'm going to be praying for people. Because this particular, we teach people a lot about marriage, but we don't pray for them because some of them need deliverance from spirit husbands. You will see demons casted out. A lot of things will be happening there. So please come on that, especially on that Sunday after church.
Okay. I want to thank the production team. Eli, I see I'm very grateful, and to you, Desmond, and to you, Tabi Tambe Bryant, who is supervising the work we do out here. This award is an award for Best Peace Journalist. By Golden Awards, Best Peace Journalist. This one is most educative TV program of the year. That's We won the most educative TV program award by Panelists. We want to say that we are very grateful. These awards, 2 of them that we got this weekend out there in Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. I dedicate these 2 to all of you, our televiewers, especially when you give us testimonies on how the program is a blessing to you. You write text messages, you encourage us. I think it is because of you that we have the energy, the wisdom to do what we are doing. So I dedicate these 2 awards to you guys who always watch the program. And I want to say thank you for watching. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about agriculture on this program. We are receiving people who come all the way from Bamenda, Kumba, to tell us their experience in agriculture. We are going to be finding out why we are so blessed. Very rich soils, all the resources are there. Why should we be importing so much food to feed Cameroon when Cameroon has the capacity to feed Central African Republic, provide food to Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, Congo, Gabon, and almost everybody? Why do we import so much food? We're going to be discussing that on Prime tomorrow. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.